guess we have
Hi,
started,
Bez. How are
Zakia. How are you
you?
doing?
I'm
Hey,
doing
cannot
well.
come. Well, good, good. Are we synced up? Everything good?
We are.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. All right. Well, everybody. Welcome to today's wonderful session. We've got the Zakia Ringgold, who is the creator of Convelyn, founder, creator extraordinaire, and Convelyn is a wonderful podcast system. Am I correct? And instead of
Kinda.
me, okay, kind of. Okay. So, just briefly to introduce her, and I'm going to let her talk about Convelyn and the beta program she's launching. Is that Zakia is a maker, actually instructional designer from corporate America, working. I guess the last big company was healthcare and specifically children's hospitals.
Yeah.
And you have a very interesting story where you tried to introduce live streaming tech to corporate America, and they weren't really into it, right?
No,
And
not their thing.
not their thing. You saw the future, but they did not see the future because you're an innovator. You're an entrepreneur. You see things other people don't see, and that led to a whole bunch of things. Eventually, I'll let you fill in this blanks. But what I'm going to do is just say, look, you through COVID started. You're a maker, so you did. Your soap making empire because you built an empire, and
Yes, it was definitely an empire.
that's right. And you that has led you to solve your own problems with AI. And so Zakia has vibe coded issues that she's dealt with and said, hey, instead of hiring a programmer, this thing called AI, artificial intelligence, I'm getting pretty good at it. And I'm going to vibe code my own app. And she's going to share a lot. Let's go into your story. And then we what we'd like to do is, go behind the scenes, why did you do what you did? Right. So share
Yeah.
your story because I left a bunch of holes. Um, what drove you to vibe code? Not only you did multiple apps, but we're only going to talk about one today, and that's Convelyn,
Yeah.
which is revolves around solving a podcaster's problems. And the why and behind the scenes, what was going through that brain of yours. All right. So
Sure.
take it away. I was going to say call you Convelyn, but
Convelyn.
Zakia.
You can call me Convelyn. Yeah, it works. So wow, there's a lot of holes and it's never a straight trajectory, right? When you're creating stuff, there's always different things that happen. And for me, several things had converged at one time. Number one, I had the cancer diagnosis last June and I had to go through chemo. And with the chemo, I found that I was often suffering from what's known as chemo brain. And so I run 3 podcasts, not one, not two, but 3. And for those, I had to prepare, right? And then I would have people asking, where do I go to listen to your podcast? So that was the first problem or friction point because, okay, well, which podcast do you want to listen to? And well, if you have a subscription on Spotify, go here. If you have a subscription on Apple, go here. And if you want to watch me on YouTube, go here. So 3 different places. And then please don't send them to my website because they're going to get lost trying to find it. So there were 2 issues. The first one was not having a single place to send someone for my episodes. But then more importantly, it was losing my train of thought in the middle of a conversation. And that was a side effect of the chemo. So I would prepare for these conversations. And that's why it's more than podcasting and more of a conversation intelligence system. And I would lose my train of thought right in the middle of the conversation. There would be a thread, or even after the interviews or after I had recorded a podcast, I would be in that moment and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. I wish I would have said, or I could have followed up, or a different question could have been, or this ties to that particular thread. And there was nothing on the market that would actually allow me to do that. But at the same time, I have been spending so much time leveraging and learning AI. I said, well, let me try my hand at vibe coding. And I banged my head against the wall on with Google Studio AI, Base 44, Claude, all of them until I ran into Manus. All the other tools get you to a really nice prototype. With Manus, I was able to actually launch the product, have pricing associated with the product, and then also have beta testers using the product. And that's how we got to Convelyn. I can't hear you, Bez.
That's because I was muted. And
Uh-oh.
yeah. So that's an interesting story. Can you tell us well, do you want to tell us specifically some of the problems it solves, or do you want to show us? You tell
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So I'll ask you, if someone were to ask you right now, where do I go to listen to your podcast? Where would you send them?
Yeah.
That's
I don't
one.
have a place. Yeah.
Oh, you don't have
I
a
mean,
place. So that's one.
that's
Let's say you wanted to interview someone and you
mhm.
need to do research on that person. How would you do it?
I would go to my AI LLM, or whether Claude or ChatGPT, and do a deep dive on them, but I would have to, put in a prompt and point it to a few areas. Yeah.
Aha. And where would you keep all of that information that you found about that person?
I would pull it into a Google Doc or Word document, put it somewhere that I'd
Somewhere.
have to go find. Yeah, and, like, I'd have to go find it in my hierarchy of folders, and sometimes I can't find stuff. Yeah.
Sometimes you can't find it. Okay, so you've given me two of the primary use cases that I'll demonstrate for you and what Convolyn does. Because what it does is it gives you a single page where you can send people in order for them to not only subscribe to your show, but listen on the platform that they choose. The other thing that it does is it allows you to capture their email addresses of those people that come to your podcast page. Additionally, people can leave reviews and ask you questions all in one place, and it's free to do on Convolyn. So that's the one thing it does. But then, in terms of guest management, what it does is it allows you to have a guest invitation page where you can actually send people that you're interested in interviewing or having on your show so that they can come and actually find out, well, what are we going to talk about and all of that. But then you can also vet guests who are interested in your show. So all of that is available through Convolyn, just on the outside. We haven't even talked about your preparation and your recording and the assets afterwards.
Wow. So, why don't we talk about that stuff then? I mean, don't leave us hanging like that. I mean, I feel like, we you cheated us. So tell us more.
Well, let's start there. How about can I share my
Show
screen?
You share away, my friend.
Alrighty. So I'm sharing now and let me know once you can see it.
Oops. Don't want to see me. We can do that, or we can do this. Is
Yeah,
that
that
better?
way is great. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. So this is Convolyn. Every podcaster that is on Convolyn automatically gets this page with just their RSS feed. If you have a podcast, you have an RSS feed from your host. And what it does is you can see right at the top of the page when somebody gets here, they can subscribe. And that way they're notified whenever you are posting a new episode. But you also get those names and email addresses. But then you make it convenient for them to subscribe where they want to listen. So if your show is on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or even showing the show notes, you can actually add that in here as well. And then we curate your latest 6 episodes that people can listen to right here on your page. Right below that, you have your host bio. But then maybe somebody's interested. They want to be a guest on your show. So you can have a guest application right here. And you can customize these questions, right? So you can find out their name, their email, phone number, how they're matching for what it is that you do. And then when they submit that application, you also have a media release agreement for them on your show. So that's just the outer wrapping of Convelyn. But then there's one other piece, and that's that guest application. So they're the main 2 pieces for people. If you are a podcaster, you need a place to, number one, send people, and you also need a place for your guests to be able to apply to be on your show so that you can start vetting them and understand where that connection fits for your audience. So they're the 2 outward facing things that everyone, even with a free account on Convelyn, has access to.
Hey, I have a question.
Mhm.
All right. So off the bat, most of the podcast players, Spotify, Apple, whatever, you cannot collect email addresses.
Correct.
Number one. So you may know you have this audience, but they won't let you. They keep that for themselves. The second, I actually have a question. So you said curate your last 6 episodes. Can you manually curate if you have your best of your best, or is it just the last 6 episodes?
It is just the last 6, but you've given me a feature request. So ask me that
Ooh.
question next week, which is a great reason why you should be in our beta program. But yes, that is a great suggestion. Either a curated list of your best or the last 6. I like that.
Okay. So what, since you said something about it, and we've got this link scrolling at the bottom, can you tell us about this beta program before you go talking about the rest of the program? And we'll talk about it intermittently, but let's talk about it now.
Sure. So I run betas. Bez alluded to the fact that I have launched several apps. My baby right now is Maker Studio AI, which was created for handmade makers. And one thing that I've learned since maybe 2019, I have been an avid lifetime deal purchaser. And I've been involved in a lot of betas. And I think betas are really important because it ensures that you have human centered development around actual systems. A lot of the noise in AI is look at this shiny thing that it can create, but it's disconnected from the people that are actually using it. So for every application and system that I build, I always implement what's known as a beta program. And that is, here is the system. Here is what it was designed to do. And by you being a part of the beta, you get to break it if you can. You get to tell me the holes, like Bez just did right here, in terms of, hey, have you considered this, that, or the other? So if you want to be a part of the beta, you can go to links.businesstechlab.com/Convelyn beta. And when you go there, you are able to sign up. And then we meet every single Wednesday at noon Eastern time, where I show you the latest features. I give you suggestions on how you can improve your workflow, but then I also listen to what your experience is with the tool. And I learned that by participating in other betas over the last 6 years on what works well and what doesn't. And being a part of the beta means not only are you shaping the platform, but you also get the lowest rate for the highest tier of what we offer on Convelyn, grandfathered in.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Okay. So folks, don't forget to sign up for the beta program. I already did. Because so walk us through what else what other
Okay.
features do you have?
All right. So now let's talk about that interview experience. So let's just look at this dashboard, which might feel a little overwhelming because I'm managing several podcasts. But what this does is it shows you in a dashboard view what you've got going on with your conversations. So I have 5 sessions. I have 4 guests that are in my pipeline. I have 44 assets that have been created for social media. So one thing that a lot of people struggle with is I've recorded it, but now how do I get it out there? How do I promote it? Convelyn will create that for you. Additionally, you have an accountability buddy, right? Where you set a goal for these are the number of conversations that I want to have on a monthly basis. And it's looking and seeing what is it that you have and what you have in the pipeline and how close you are to meeting that goal. And then you have what's known as smart action cues, where it knows what you've done in the system. And then it's telling you what to do next. And then you can have the system execute. You also have the session health. So, of all the sessions that you've recorded, where are they? So, one of them is 100%, another one is 33%, so on and so forth, which is a visual cue and a visual guide to prevent that pod fade that often happens with podcasters. So, the power in Convelyn, let's just say we're doing a guest. And maybe I want to have you as a guest, Bez. So let's go ahead and
Sign
let's
me
walk
up.
through. Sign you up. All righty. So I'm going to just click on add guest here. And I'm going to put your name. I always spell your name.
I've been on somebody else's podcast, so you might find me.
Rengifo.
Gifo.
I'm not going to put your real email in here. I'm just going to put test@gmail just because this is being live streamed. And you are a CEO or founder?
Whatever you want to. I also sweep and cook and I'm
All
the
the good
janitor.
things.
Yeah, all the above. Whatever you want to call me.
And then your LinkedIn, if I wanted to put that in here, I could. And the benefit of doing that, your LinkedIn URL, your website, your YouTube channel, or your podcast URL, Convelyn is going to go out and start doing the research for you on that guest.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. So you don't have to go looking anywhere. So let's just say your interview, we're going to schedule that for May the 15th of this year. And I'm just going to add you as a guest.
My wife's complaint about me. She goes, "Have you ever Googled yourself?" And I go, "No. Why?" "Because you're everywhere." And I'm like, "Well, I am a recruiter." I'm like, I am trying to cast a net. And he goes, "You're everywhere." I'm like, well, it's just a function of what I do. And so, yeah.
Oh, look at you on my LinkedIn channel. Awesome. So I'm going to actually share that.
That's right. Look at that.
Because I didn't put your LinkedIn URL in, but just by me going to your LinkedIn, and everybody can do this, I'm going to teach you all something too. If you didn't know, you can go to anyone's LinkedIn profile, click on more, and download their profile. And within Convelyn, we can now come back and upload that PDF of our guest. And now I'm going to have AI run the research on Bez. Now, the reason why this is really important is sometimes, and what sets Convelyn apart is it understands the host in the show and the episodes that we've done previously. And because it has that, it can now identify what are those natural points where myself and Bez would actually click. What would be some good talking points for the show? And now, in a matter of seconds, it has researched you, Bez. it came up with career highlights. So it knows that you have extensive leadership and management experience, massive scale for talent acquisition, strategic HR and talent management, diverse industry experience. But I'm going to just scroll down and it gives me your areas of expertise and then key topics covered, his tone and his audience. But then there's another tab that has AI insights. Have you ever had someone say, well, what are we going to talk about? What are the talking points that we're going to discuss? Convelyn pulls it up for you, or at least gives you some suggestions. Key talking points that align with your show, but also the expertise of this individual guest. What tool have you seen do that for you in one click?
That would have required me to use different AI, large LLMs to do the research and then pull it in. And then I'd have to give it another prompt to, hey, how does this align and what can, what's some synergies here? And
Right.
so that's really fascinating that it does it within the tool. And I
Yeah.
just want to give a shout out to my friend Renee
Hi,
Coulter.
Renee.
Hey, Renee, good to see you, my friend. But yeah, this is wonderful. I haven't seen a tool that, I mean, this, you can do it in AI, but it's multiple steps and it takes time. Even with AI, this, you have it within one tool and it's like all centralized. I don't have to go chasing information like what Google folder did I put it in? Oh, let me go search it. Maybe there's a few of them and I'm like, oh, now I got to look at 2 documents. Oh, it's this one, not that one, So this is a time
Fantastic.
saver.
Oh, yeah. Time saver for sure. So it'll give you potential story hooks and conversation starters, questions that you should ask as the host, and how the guest expertise connects to small businesses because that it knows that that's what Business Tech Unraveled is about, and all of those different components. So you have that, and then you can print it if you want. But now let's say I'm ready to go ahead and plan a session with you, right? A conversation with you. So now I'm going to just say new session. And the session title is, and we talked about this before, it was going from a 9 to 5 full-time employee to entrepreneur. Discuss what people should look for and prepare for when making the transition. Right. And it doesn't matter what you put in here, but it's just a way to give Convelyn some context on what is it that you're after. But the reason I keep saying conversation intelligence and not podcasting, because Convelyn works if you're doing a solo session, a guest interview, a panel discussion with several people, if you're teaching a workshop, if you're doing a coaching call, if you're doing consultations, or even a sales conversation, Convelyn can be right there next to you, helping you prepare for that in the moment, before the session, and even after the session. So do you see why I'm saying I always struggle when someone says podcasting? It's more than podcasting, but
Yeah.
podcasting is a very easy way to understand it.
Yeah, I think I love the podcasting, as you think about the RSS feed, if you know a little bit about the tech, but things are evolving, and do you call things a podcast anymore, or do you go for a more overarching uh, word and maybe call it a show because there's different distribution as anytime you open your mouth, whether through a podcast, live streaming is distribution, right?
Yeah.
Internet radio is distribution, YouTube video is distribution, um, RSS feed to all the RSS are the players, podcast players are distribution. What about internet or streaming TV?
Yeah.
Like Netflix, Roku, Amazon Fire, whatever. May want a Zakia show, or
Oh, they
you say,
definitely
hey,
want it. They just don't know my name. They
yeah,
want
yeah,
my show.
maybe you're like, I'm not gonna wait for Netflix. I'm gonna produce my own show and I'll put it on Amazon Fire and Roku for. I'll do it on my own. Okay,
Yeah.
let them come looking for me when I have all the fame and glory, and the Kia's on her way. There you go.
Nice.
Love
Yeah.
it.
So let's say we're going to keep planning this session. So I'm going to choose you as my guest. And then I'm going to put that date in there again of May 15th, 2026, and what time we're planning on recording. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the session. Now, one thing that we also created, Bez, is a pre-show strategy. And what this will do is just with a click of a button, have Convelyn generate the strategy for our show. So that includes our show map, and it also includes the outline. So let's give that a
Wow.
second.
And while that's coming up, we have another friend from LinkedIn saying, hola, aloha, and hi. Wow, she's trilingual.
Nice. Well, aloha, right back
Aloha.
at you.
Aloha. I love that.
Yeah.
Laura, good to see you. I guess I should once in a while you know, put these on the screen. There you go. That's Renee. We'll hide. Then we go. We've got Laura. So Laura, thanks for showing up and showing out. All right, back to you, Zakia.
Okay, awesome. So now it's giving me some suggested topics because it knows who you are. So the mindset shift, leveraging corporate experience, building your entrepreneurial HR team, and then some possible interview questions that I could ask as the host of the show based on your expertise. So now I'm going to just click on generate outline and script. And Convelyn is going to say, oh, that's what you selected? And then it also knows my stories and how it could tie into what you have as expertise from what it pulled in for your LinkedIn. Again, you could also share the person's YouTube channel or their podcast. And what Convelyn will do is it will generate an outline for your show as well as a script for your show. And then what do you do with that? So I can say, you know what? I want to send my guest a guest prep page that gives them the link to where to come. And now let's just go ahead and copy that. And paste it in. And instantly, you get a personalized preparation page for your guests that you could send them that URL. There's no more looking around of, hey, go here, go there. Here's what we're going to be talking about. Here's the date. Click this button. Here are the talking points. And everything that you need is right there.
Wow. Less work for me. You know, I mean,
That's the point.
this right there is, you know, the reality is that all of this takes time. And if you're a solopreneur, you would like to be super person, but a superhero can only be one superhero, not gazillion of them. So all of
Exactly.
these things are like multiple things you have to do among everything else you have to do. So this is for me is a saver.
Yeah. And I mean, there's more, like I can go into the whole production side of it, but I think people have gotten the main idea of what it does. It is definitely a time saver. We haven't even gone into the actual recording and the live AI coaching and the assets that are generated afterwards. But this is really for those people that have important conversations. That's really what it's about. And also, a lot of times people are trying to figure out, well, what is it that I need to do or I'm not really sure? Convelyn will take you by the hand from the time that you have an idea for a show, all the way to you promoting and distributing that show. Convelyn is going to be the piece that just kind of weaves it all together and orients you for your audience so that you can maintain professionalism and then also keep up with what it is that you said you wanted to do with all of the conversations that you need to have.
Wow. That's I love it how it all just comes together. It's like, what's the guy from the A Team? I love it when a plan comes together. Do you remember? I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember that, but
Yes.
oh, that's amazing. I know there's a lot more to this than meets the eye, but you know, we don't want to overwhelm people. I know I took a pretty deep dive with you once and I was like, oh my goodness. A time saver is big for me. It really is. And I think that's what you gave us is a
Yeah.
huge time saver. Um, did you build this because to solve your own problems too? Like this is where all the things you needed to get done. You say, well, look, why don't I build my own system? Because you couldn't find this out there. And is that why you did this?
That was the primary reason. Most tools that I had in my tool belt support people after they create. Very few, if not any, help you while you're thinking and speaking. And that became a breakthrough for me. I started with just the outer layer or those pieces that I needed for people sending someone somewhere to be able to see all of my shows and subscribe and have me being able to capture those email addresses. When I moved beyond that and I started, and I shared this in one of your career collectives, one thing that I do with all of my apps is the moment I start asking myself, what if, it becomes a feature? Because normally that what if is a thread of a pain point or a friction that I've created a workaround for. So instead of working around it, building a solution to fix it and resolve it. And so that's how it emerged from just, hey, here's this page to send people. Here's an entire conversation intelligence platform so that I never forget an idea or a thread in the moment when I'm having those conversations.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, it just brings it all together. Um, and I, I mean, here's how I look at it. You got pre-production, which you handled. You had production,
Which we didn't
and you
show, but there is a whole production layer right there in the middle and
yes,
post
and
production.
I was going to do the post-production. So I think you handled the whole spectrum of production. So pre during the production and post production, and because I don't think we really went into the post production. Can you at least show one thing about post
Sure.
production? Hey, you do this, and then oh my goodness, you got social media assets or whatever,
Yep.
So,
So
and
let me go ahead.
while you're doing that, go ahead and get that ready. I just want to say, hey, Mike
Oh,
LeBlanc,
Mike's here. I haven't
Mike,
seen him in a long time. Good to see you, Mike.
yeah, Mike
You should
LeBlanc.
invite him. He always adds good perspective.
I
But let me
know
go.
he would, you know, we can actually if he wants to. Mike, let me know and I'll send you the link. We'll invite you into the studio. But yeah, I think when you are what ends up happening is when you are yeah, I don't think a lot of people think about because you showed the pre-production, but then production, and then there's that layer of production and what's happening then, and then also post-production is a heavy lift. All of these will keep people from even look. Truth be told, over a year ago, I recorded my first. I was about to start a podcast, so I did it with somebody recorded it, and it went out on internet radio, and then I think it went on some podcasting. I think it did one podcast, and then I didn't do anything. Now I'm relaunching it, but it was because there's so many things, and it's a heavy lift, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna send our friend here a
And
A
while you do that,
link. Yeah.
put my screen up and I can go ahead and do the walkthrough of the actual
Okay.
production side.
Let me do that, and might keep an eye out for this. Yeah.
So what we
Go ahead.
got
Take it away.
was the outline and the script. So this is all pre. So now that we have that, and if we like it, we can keep it. If not, we can edit it. But now we have the script. And so what I'm going to do is if I go back to the top, I can now go into the recording studio, which is here as well. And I can open my script up. Oh, I broke something. Don't you hate when that happens? Go to my outline.
That's okay. That's why we
Uh,
call it beta.
Beta, yes. But normally my script would be right there. Let's hide the script. I'll just go off the top of my head. So here, I can go ahead and click on start recording. You are listening to Business Tech Unraveled, and I'm your host, Zakia Ringgold. And I am so excited because I am here today with Bez, and we're going to be talking about the leap of navigating the shift from employee to entrepreneurship. And so, Bez, I would love to welcome you. I'm going to pause. Now, what this system is doing is it's doing a live transcription of what it is that I'm saying. But then I have a live AI coach in the moment that's saying, here's a great transition that you can use. Here is how that's tying to what's coming in your outline. So you never lose your train of thought and you have a gentle AI coach over your shoulder saying, hey, consider ABC, XYZ right in the moment while you are recording, not after it's done with the coulda, woulda, shouldas of what you might have said.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That is that's production, folks, in real life. I mean, not real life, in real time. That is, my goodness. That's, I don't know, folks, if you guys are seeing this, or the value. And I'm not usually a hype person, but this solves my problem. And I think I recommended you to present at a podcasting conference down in North Carolina. So hopefully they'll reach out to you. I think you're worthy to showcase and demo this. Mark Ronick. So, anyways, all right.
All right, so I'll keep going because let's just pretend that I did the entire episode. So I'll just stop and save. And now I actually get the downloadable file that I can now upload to my host. So no more looking for the file, where is it, or any of that. It's all there. But then I can also see the transcript, which is here that I can copy if I wanted to. But then it also will generate outputs for me. So if I need a thank you note from my guest, if I need show notes to put on my blog, the titles and the description, all of that, and then I can just click on generate content. And when I click on generate content, all of those elements are going to be created for me within Convelyn in my voice, in my tone, and in my style, not generic AI rigmarole. Laura said, wow, sign me up. Boom. Laura, visit links.businesstechlab.com/Convelyn beta. Beta is kicking off on Wednesday. I would love to have you there.
And it's that scrolling, folks. So grab it. You know, you'll and we got our friend Mike here. Mike, how are you doing? What say you? Good to have you on the show. What do you think of what you're seeing so far?
I'm blown away. I jumped in right in the middle of this, and so I'm just blown away by what Zakia is doing in general, and I'm a little jelly, I will say. Beyond that, though, and I don't know if you've found this. As you know, Bez, I'm in the middle of doing songwriting with AI, and um, there I found myself in a bit of a middle of a controversy, which I kind of knew was going on, but I'm actually interested to hear if Zakia's got any blowback from her anywhere in the her use of AI space. It seems like there's fear, yeah, and some of it, could be justified relative to disruption and so on. Uh, and if she did, how she's dealing with it, because to be honest, there's some unresolved things even in my own mind with, maybe how some of this stuff is trained. Um, and but then I've actually kind of taken a deep dive into what do you want to call ethical, moral issues around that. So I'd love to hear what she has to say. But at the flip side, I look at why computers were supposed to exist, and I was actually a programmer back in the day. So I guess I'm a bit torn, because it's disruptive, and it's going to cause some friction and some maybe even some joblessness. Um, I'd love to hear if she's run into that and how she's dealing with it.
Well, before she answers that, um, what you had a few questions there, but I will tell you this: that as a solopreneur, I don't know. I mean, you could be displacing a job, but at that time, you're bootstrapping it, right?
Mm.
And so this is actually probably going to help you get it off the ground. My experience is I did it and I just ran out of time. So what do? You just stop, you know? I have seen that people that grow actually hire more assistants, even with AI. But Zakia, I'll let you answer that. And I think your number one question, if I'm summarizing it, because there's a few questions, is there, hey, are you getting any blowback because your tool, and if it is, what is taking away jobs, and how are you handling that? So, Zakia, take it away.
Wow. So I'm coming off the heels of doing a 9-week AI summit. And so there's that. So the summit was for a wide variety of, and it was specifically for business owners. The fear seems to be lowering. The overwhelm seems to be getting higher in terms of, and I fault a lot of the tech bros and the hype guys on look at all the cool stuff that AI can do with zero context and why that matters for individuals. I do hear a lot of the environmental concerns. I did a LinkedIn post on that because I really don't understand the level of scrutiny that AI is receiving around the environment. Yes, it absolutely has impact because of the data centers, the cooling systems, the water, all of those things. But why didn't we have that same kind of pushback when we're streaming on Netflix, right? 4K video all day long. I think every technology that we've ever had has always created new infrastructure demands around what it's going to require before society fully understands the trade-offs of that. And I don't think that we are having very honest conversations around what are those trade-offs depending on the platform. I think there's very selective outrage on the tools, and people aren't really being honest in the context of it. So I don't think I answered your question. I gave you more of a philosophical answer. But what I'm getting more is overwhelm around, okay, well, which tool do I even use, which is always the wrong question. And people haven't really understood how it actually impacts within their workflow. And starting there is the real place where people are going to understand well, you know what? Maybe I don't need to use this AI tool, or it makes sense for me to do it because this is what I'm getting.
You touched on the hype, which that's one of my issues. I'm finding, depending on what I'm using it for, I really have to spend. Well, I always believe you have to have a human in the loop, right? So, but it's use case independent or dependent. It's like, number one, I don't necessarily want AI to do like storylines for a video, a music video.
Mhm.
It can do that, but I wouldn't want it to do start to finish because I want to be involved in the process. And I think you need a
And you
human in
have to
the
be.
process.
You
Yeah.
absolutely have to be. That's where that term AI slop is coming from. And I hate that term because I feel like it's more of a gatekeeper term and stopping some people from entering because they fear that what they do is going to be labeled as AI slop. But I do think that you have always got to have the human in the loop. I think a lot of the fear has to do with a lot of the gatekeepers who were previously given titles and recognition from institutions, and that is being broken down, right? Because that we now all have the ability to package our ideas because we don't necessarily need a graphic design team and a developer and all of those other things. So it's shrinking that space between idea to realization. But without that human in the loop, that is what's going to change whether or not it's just some generic piece of stuff versus something that really moves the needle. And that's exactly what I'm seeing with my Maker Studio AI tool because I lived, same thing with Convelyn. I lived the workflow in order to be able to create the system without a tech team. My tech team was me and AI and my experience in those different environments.
Yeah, I think that, well, yeah, I just think that there's been disruption. I'm speaking now from my experience with, me creating my songs. It's like I write the lyrics. I do a lot of the production, the production prompting, and I've spent quite a bit of time actually. And I'm always looking for new tools to do that with, including, by the way, I probably will start to dive into the digital audio workstation, the DAWs as they call them, and do mixing and mastering, probably with AI help. But I just I wrote an article on this, not understanding like the space and how controversial it was.
Yeah.
And that particular post, Beth, I don't know if you've seen it, but that got so far 5,000 impressions and almost 200 comments, and a lot of them are audio engineers or people that are doing live music. I'm like, well, you're not going to lose any business from me from live music, certainly. Number one, and number two, like one of my business ideas is which I'm working actually on a client right now, is bespoke music for, I mean, it has a very small platform, so there's not real revenue lost on your end. So, and to me, and I've been a poet, and I paint and everything for years. I just feel, I mean, you talked about the gatekeepers. It's actually a little worrisome because this has happened throughout actual music history with other things like synthesizers and drum machines and so on. So
Hmm.
it's interesting to see the pushback, and I want to be sensitive to that and not just blow it off. But at the same time, I'm like, this is allowing me to take these thoughts and whatever, and to your point, shorten the time between when I can have an idea and create something.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Bess.
I'm
So
trying to scroll through. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Bess.
yeah, I just want to keep it on topic. This is definitely another conversation, Mike. The philosophical side of ethics. But no, I appreciate it. I think I just for this session, I want to not, keep it on the demo of the platform.
Absolutely.
But
Apologize,
but
Zakia.
no, but you bring up some good points. I definitely want to do one on ethics. I think it's a fascinating part of AI. And before we get back on track here, it happened when the personal computer came online. Remember the a computer would take and this wasn't my era, but people would talk about it, a whole room. And then it took a closet, the mini, the AS4 or the mid-range AS400s that were smaller. And then you had the personal computer, and then then you had the internet. And then, it's fascinating. And now we're going to have where AI has been around for a long time, and since the 1950s, and now probably before the end of the decade, we'll have quantum computing.
Yep.
I am cognizant of the environment and what these affects. I have worked at companies where I recruited people for data centers. And if you ever do a walkthrough on a data center, you're right. It's a breathing, living organism. There's water flowing through it. You got to cool it down. If you ever been at the bottom of a data center, the recovery they have, I've seen them where they have 5 huge caterpillar engines that they will turn on, and when they test them, they make a lot of noise, even though they're at the bottom, and they let out a lot of black smoke. They're diesel. So
Yeah, but Bez, I
this is
agree
a
with that,
great
but I have to
conversation.
push back on it
We're gonna definitely have to
because
have
oh,
one mics. We're gonna schedule one.
can I push back on that just a little bit?
Go
Because
ahead. That was
that's typically the talking point about the environment. And I wrote an article about this specific topic because to train a large language model, yes, you are looking at that kind of stuff. But the general users that are using just creating a prompt, they're doing an iota, a very small amount of that. So I don't think it's fair to have that conversation like Zakia that's asking AI to update this newsletter and make it more professional or whatever prompt that I'm using is not the same scale of environmental impact of ChatGPT training its models. And unfortunately, sometimes when people have that conversation, it becomes the use of AI is bad for the environment, which I think we have to compare apples to apples and realize that not all AI usage is having the same environmental impact.
Zakia, I just want to chip in too to say, and believe me, I'm not agnostic. Well, actually, I am agnostic.
And
They
Beth
are
said he
you.
wanted us to get off this topic, so let me stop. That's
Oh
not what
well.
the topic of this was.
I'll just chip in really quick and say, read up on the capture or recapture of water, meaning that they reuse the water. So I'll just leave it there for now.
But yeah,
Yeah, I'm
go
just
and
showing
get
some of the people's
convelyn.com.
comments. Yeah. Just really quick, I want to say thank you, Renee, Resman, Beast, M249, Laura, Tom Cullen for making comments. We appreciate that. Beast, M249 said, if you get people to pay for it, go to, I'll just show it here. If you get people to pay for it, go to Y Combinator and try to raise. If no one pays for it, then you need to reiterate, validate assumptions. Also, the AI just helps you ship faster, test, and validate. So
there's 25
hey, you might have
people.
something here, Zakia.
Yeah, there's 25 people that are paying for it with no marketing. And then my Maker Studio AI, we have 40 people with no marketing. This is the first time I'm actually talking about the system live.
That's crazy.
But Laura, I like your comment. She says, I love it. Hashtag Zakia. I love seeing my name with a hashtag on it. That's pretty cool.
It sure is. It sure is. So is there any other features you want to share with us? You think you've given us enough to taste? Because I know there's a lot more, but anything else you want to share?
I think we talked about the live coaching. And I think one thing I just want to say, because I think there's a lot of vibe coders that are out there, but don't realize that they can do this too. Because I did not come from a traditional software development background. My background does happen to be system thinking, learning design, operational workflow. And so I approach this very differently. But if you are someone who is really close to a particular workflow or you've figured out a process, these vibe coding tools make it so that you are able to build on there, right? So consider, if you want to build your own system, if you are banging your head against the wall on why do I have so many workarounds, there are tools right now that you can use to build that solution, even if you don't want to take it to market just for yourself.
Wow, that is so true. That is so true. So I want to. Do you want to head towards the exit door? Maybe we'll go. We'll do round the horn and final thoughts. Do you want to do that? Okay.
Sure
So,
thing.
Mike, we're gonna give you. Okay, good, Mike. We're gonna give you. Give us your final thoughts before we go to Zakia, and then I'll give my final thoughts, and we'll call it a wrap and go into the, shut the live stream down and then go into the green room, and then from there do what we need to do. But Mike, you have the mic. Take it away.
Well, I'm excited to see. I was scrambling to get. I got to our website, but I didn't get to the beta. I'm excited to see. Always excited to see what Zakia is doing. And I don't know. I just think I just see this in general, what she's doing, as a democratization. Before, either you had to have the money to hire a dev team. To be honest with you, I've dealt with dev teams that were how do we say it, less than frictionless. In business, I wasn't making the decision as to who we hired, but I was on the security side, so that's a whole nother discussion too. Vibe coding and security. But I'm just happy to see Zakia being successful, and I am going to watch her from the bleachers for now, and maybe even jump in somewhere in the middle here eventually. But the only issue there is I've actually worried about security, mostly on the PC side for sandboxing and whatnot. So that's all I got to say for now.
Nice.
All right, Zakia.
I think because Mike came on and had us talk about AI, I do have some thoughts about that. So I'm going to quickly say those. I think that we are definitely moving into a phase of AI where it's no longer just about generating things. The next phase, or the phase that we are in right now, is alignment, context, and systems. And more importantly, operational intelligence. Generic AI outputs are much less impressive than they were 2 years ago or 6 months ago. So context awareness around what it is that we're generating with AI is going to be the make or break for most people. And I think that the future of AI is not about replacing human communication. It's about helping people preserve clarity, context, memory, and meaning while they communicate. And the best conversations already exist inside of people, and they happen every day. The problem is that many of us lose pieces of those conversations in real time. Convelyn was built to help preserve what matters before it disappears. And I welcome you to join me in the beta by going to links.businesstechlab.com/Convelyn beta, or you can just go to convelyn.com and that link to the beta is at the bottom of the screen. Bez, thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. This has been fantastic. About a couple months ago, I started this thing called the AI Mastery Lab series. Then I had to interrupt it because of some personal things I had to take care of. But we're going to be, this is sort of a launch back into it. And Zakia, she had something prepared, but she said, look, why don't we just go live and we'll talk about my beta? Because she's trying to get people into Convelyn beta. And I thought, when she showed it to me, I was like, oh my goodness. I got really excited because she really gave me a demo that did pre-production, production, and post-production. I saw the whole continuum and I was very impressed, to say the least. And she told me she coded it herself, the whole thing, the Vibe coded it. So I was like, wow, that's impressive. So I think there's a lot of future in this product, Zakia. I think that, I think that, I don't know if it was a beast, right? M249 had a good point earlier on. And yeah, he he's right now saying that, cybersecurity is a concern for Vibe coded apps. And Mike reiterated that. What I like about, and we have Tom who's been coding since the 80s, and he said the word automation scared people back then. And here's my takeaway from this conversation. And Mike, thank you for adding some color to it because you added some context to it. Is that as we use the tools of yesterday, today, and tomorrow, they're all going to change. They're going to present their own issues and problems. And us humans are the guardrails, the masters, the people that will keep it in as much for good as possible, right? I appreciate Zakia's solution to a problem that I had that will help those that are not, maybe I'm not scared about the production and that, but do I have time to edit? Do I have time to do? No, right? I do my own headhunting. I do my own career coaching. And this is another method to get the word out. For me, distribution, right? And your Convelyn solves my problem.
Nice.
And that's why I'm going to sign up. I've already signed up for your beta. I just can't wait to be part of your beta, break it, beat up on it, and looking forward to being part of this tribe. And I hope Mike joins it if he can. I know Zakia's leading the charge. I know there's any other people. I think some people on the live signed up already. If you ever been part of a beta, it's a special place to be, especially if you're passionate about what's being built. And you know what? It'll just make you better. So thank you, Zakia. And for that, we know we are better today because of this conversation. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Zakia. And we will be back next week, maybe inside the AI Mastery Lab. And we'll take it from there. Maybe we'll live stream it. We had a fun time today. So thank you. Good night, and may you enjoy your Wednesday evening. And we will see you again another day. Signing off. Goodbye. And let me see if I can get an outro. Yeah.
We're supposed to have it queued up as like.
I know. I know. Let me see if this one. Okay. See, what does that do? It's probably too late. But Yeah, I should have had it queued up. Anyways, hey, goodbye, and we'll catch you on the flip side. I'm gonna end the stream.